Domo arigato, geek to me radio, da 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 da. Domo arigato, geek to me radio, da 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 da.
Welcome, 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 geeks and nerds, girls and boys, to a brand new episode of Geek to Me Radio. Tonight, we have Larry Quiggins, owner of Bugs Comics, on to talk about his big 50% off sale happening next weekend, and we'll get into some comic book talk as well. After that, Joey V's in studio with me. He and I have both seen Running Man. He's seen A24's Eternity. We're going to talk movies, plus give you a chance to win a Marcus gift card. All that and more. Stand by.
We're talking TV, comics and movies, and video games. And if you don't know Star Trek from Star Wars, we'll try to explain. There are 12 doctors for Hogwarts houses, one ring rules them all. To be the greatest Pokemon master, you must catch them all. You must catch them all. Try to catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all.
And if you're driving around the greater St. Louis area tonight, listening to us on the Big 550 KTRS, hello to all of you. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you are streaming us on YouTube and Facebook, hello to all of you watching. That means Joey V is in studio with me and running the video. If you are listening to us after the fact in the podcast form, we appreciate you doing just that. Hopefully you subscribed by now and left us a 5-star review on whatever platform it is you choose to listen, and we do appreciate that. Also, going to go right into it. Obviously, all of you know my official comic book sponsor, Bugs Comics and Games, Larry Quiggins. He's having a big 50% off sale, and I said, you know what? We haven't had him on for a while. This would be a great time to bring him on. We can also talk some comic books this way. Larry, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. Thanks for the time today.
No problem.
I know you've been busy because you were just at that same, I just posted on Facebook, got to meet Bill Reinhold and Linda Lessman. I had them sign the Punisher thing. You were set up right next to him. That was a prime spot at that Moolah Shrine convention this weekend.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty cool show, a pretty cool collectible show. I think they're going to do another one in June. For those who like collectible shows and they're not just looking for comics or toys, I mean, there was a little bit of everything there.
Yeah.
I thought it was a nice location. That was a great show.
Yeah, no, they had a little bit. They had Pokemon cards. They had a couple people there with vintage video game stuff, Super Nintendo, things like that. And obviously a bunch of cool toy and comic book vendors as well. But then they have the two of them there. That was kind of a unique little treat because I don't think they do a lot of shows from what Bill was saying.
No, I know, and I've acquaintance with Bill since first comics in the late 80s and mid-late 80s and stuff like that. They live in the St. Charles area, and so it wasn't that far for them to go. I just think it's, start getting to a certain age, you just don't want to travel all over the place.
No, I'm already at that age. Are you kidding me?
Exactly. Well, they're, but they're great people, and he does great work. And she fascinated me because, like I think I was saying to you, I looked up her stuff because I was like, well, I'll bring some books, for people to sign. And she's got such an eclectic array of books that she worked on. I mean, it wasn't just like she did Kazar 20 issues in a row or something like that. I was like, I did an issue of Kazar here, an issue of FF here, an issue of Spider-Man, issue of all. It was all over the place. But like I think I said to you yesterday, what cracked me up after I started looking through the list was like, oh, my God. Every one of the books she's done is in my collection. For me, in the 70s and 80s growing up, it was like, oh, my God. I knew her work even though I didn't know her work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I saw that she had character designs there. It looked like the original 1980s Hasbro My Little Ponies. So I'm assuming she must have worked on that as well, which was like, my gosh, what a fascinating individual.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really cool, and it's so funny that you figure out that he was there with the poster that you had too.
They happen to have the hardbound book, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I've seen that image before, kind of going through the little Rolodex in my brain. I'm like, oh, that's an image on the poster that I've got. And I already had Mike Barron wrote it, then he drew it, and she inked it. Bill obviously drew it, and Linda inked it. So I went home and digging through all my posters. I'm like, oh, here it is. So I managed to get them sign it because Mike had already signed it at Terrificon, and I had Howard Chaykin sign the Wolverine's Nick Fury one that he did, and I had Mike Zeck sign his. So I'm trying to get all the images signed by the artists and writers that I can. So it was kind of a nice little bonus to be able to get them to sign that. And then I talked to them about potentially coming to Two Rivers Comic Con, and I mentioned Larry Hama, and Linda goes, "Oh, I love Larry. We worked on a bunch of stuff together." So that'd be kind of a nice little thing since we are bringing in Larry Hama to reunite them.
Yep. And like I said, the beauty of the fact is, the Chicago area, it's not that far of a trip for them, so it'd be an appealing show.
Right. Yeah. That's it's not conflict. I was surprised C2E2 evidently is on the same weekend as Planet Comic Con, and they both moved forward because it's March something this year, which I know they've tried to stay out of each other's hair, but I guess they decided, these are the dates we're using, which is kind of odd. But they usually go to C2E2, and they were worried it's the same weekend as Two Rivers, but they said, "Oh, nope, never mind. That's way far in advance, so we can totally go to yours." So hopefully we can bring them in.
That'd be in her backyard, so obviously any Chicago shows.
Yeah. But the main reason we wanted to talk to you is because you've got the big 50% off sale going on, and we just had our superhero bingo night to raise funds for the Two Rivers Comic Con, and we gave out 3 of your gift cards, and one of the gift card winners was our costume contest. There was a guy dressed as Batman, and he had with him a young Damian Wayne Robin, and I gave him the gift card. Robin won based on our tribunal, and he's, "Oh, we haven't been to this store yet, Dad. Now we get to go." So that's kind of cool that we're bringing new people into Bugs Comics, especially now for this big sale you've got.
That's awesome, and I might have to, if they identify themselves, I might have to give them an extra prize because the fact that he was the Damian Wayne Robin, close to my heart.
Yeah.
That's the Robin I prefer. If we're not going to go with Dick Grayson, it's got to be Damian. I'm sorry.
Well, and this came up on Threads, last month maybe, but people were saying, "Who's your favorite Robin?" And I go with Tim Drake. Because when I started reading comics,
sure,
Dick was already
and
Nightwing.
I like Tim Drake. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, Dick was already Nightwing.
The dynamic of father and son.
Sure, I mean that's a really cool concept. Which a lot of people hated it when they first introduced Damian as the new Robin.
Right, but those were probably newer readers, and I don't want to digress too terribly much. But for me, the '80s graphic novels, Son of a Demon, Birth of a Demon, and Bride of a Demon, where Batman falls in love with Talia, Ra's al Ghul's daughter, Talia al Ghul, and they get married for a while, and she gets pregnant with Damian. And at the end of it, they tell Batman when it's all falls apart that the baby died, that she lost the baby. But you see at the very end of the last one, her giving birth secretly, but it was always considered an Elseworlds. Nobody considered it as part canon until Grant Morrison came along. It was Grant Morrison, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Who was writing the series and brought him back and brought back the concept and introduced Damon that he'd been around. And I know one of the things I don't really care about that they talk about. I think now they say he was like accelerated growth rate. Make them grow old faster, age to like 8 years old faster. To me, it's like, well, like I said, that was back in the 80s. So the fact that 20 or so years later, an 8-year-old
right
son shows up is like, oh, that doesn't seem weird to me. But, they try to keep everything. Batman hasn't been around more than 10 years or blah, 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 and all that good stuff. So.
Which, the more Robins you keep adding, the more difficult that gets to be believable because you're going through one Robin every 2 years. Because supposedly he adopted Dick Grayson when he was only 8 years old, and Bruce was in his, I think at that point, 25. So there's that age difference there. So if that's to be believed, then Dick became Nightwing at age 10 before he got Jason. So
or 15 or whatever,
a little weird.
I always considered Batman, I guess, from as long as a character, and it's kind of like I considered the Superman, that 30-ish, in the mid-30s, age to myself, because you don't want him to be too, pushing 50.
Right.
But you can't really say they're in their 20s.
Yeah, no, I think the year one kind of established that when he first went out, he was around 25. When he came back to Gotham and went out as his first time,
Right.
and everything like
he
that.
had to do all that training.
Sure. That and then like what 2 years later he adopted Dick Grayson, so it would put him at 27 maybe. So there's about a 19 or 20 year age gap between him and Dick Grayson, and then however many years. It depends, because if you add that on, if Dick had 7 years as Robin, that would then put Bruce at 34 when Jason Todd hits the scene. So it's weird to think
And then you
about.
got to add Tim Drake in there.
Right, yeah. It's really, really kind of hard to think about when you've got, at least with Superman, you don't really have a teenager coming along to throw the age gap off and question the timeline.
Well, you're with the whole now being married to Lois, which happened in the 90s, and the son,
which happened in 2012.
He's got his own convoluted that we could talk about if we wanted to. So.
Yeah, whole big thing. But luckily, if you're scratching your head right now and be like, boy, when did this stuff happen? Luckily, you can head out to Larry's shop, because he can point you right to where those comics are in his excessive long boxes that he has all over. And the sale you've got coming up this weekend, just to remind everyone, it's 50% off everything except for supplies and new comics.
Everything will be 50% off at least, except for supplies.
Mm-hmm.
And new comic books. The new comic books that come out this week won't be 50% off, but they'll probably be 25% off, I'm going to guess.
Okay. So if the comic books come out on Wednesday, new comic book day, those will be maybe 25% off. Everything else will be 50.
Yes.
And then you've no supplies, no bags, boards, boxes, etc., stuff like that. But then you've got
because I really don't raise those up that much over the cost anyway.
Correct. Right, exactly. No, that's one of the reasons I like getting my bags and boards from you, because the costs have gone up on those quite a bit with all we had that problem with the plastics and everything like that when gas prices went up.
Yeah.
And those kind of shot up. So, but yeah, you've always had your prices stayed pretty stable regardless of all that. But there's all the other stuff you've got. You've got toys in there. You've got the cards. You've got a lot of other stuff, the board games and things like that. And then you've automatically got your dollar books anyway and things like that. So all that stuff then half off.
So the dollar books will be 50-cent books, and the 50-cent books will be a quarter.
Perfect. So lots of stuff to go through today. And you open that starts on Friday the 21st. What time do you open on Friday?
I'll be open on Friday and Saturday by normal hours, 12 to 6.
Okay. And then Sunday?
Sunday's 1 to 5. It'll be our normal hours.
Normal hours all weekend. Okay. 1 to 5 on Sunday.
I typically didn't really catch it until after it was advertising and stuff like that. I typically only do Saturday and Sundays in the past, but this time I added the Friday date. So.
Gotcha. So get out there for that early bird.
It'll start on Friday. Right. Most people probably end up showing on Saturday.
Yeah. No, if you want to get the good stuff, get out there on Friday then, so you can get in there before everyone else comes on Saturday. That's what I would recommend.
The big thing is that I got a fair amount of overstock from the last year or so that I'm going to throw out, and I'm going to those who are comic people who's been in the St. Louis area for a long time. I'm going to kind of do what fantasy comics used to do, and just blow them out. It'll be 50 cents a piece.
Nice.
So you're talking, if you missed the series from 8 months ago, say whatever a Blade series came out, there might be overstock in there at 50 cents a piece instead of the how much comics cost nowadays.
Right. No, exactly. Yeah. Some of them are $3.99, $4.99.
So, if there's a certain series or stuff that you're like, well, I didn't have the money to try the series, you might find it in there and be able to get them for a good price.
Yeah, there's it's a great way, because it's like some of the stuff you're like, it's not what I normally get. And I've done that before. And then I come across, you've got those, you'll throw them in there for however much there. I'm like, gosh, for that price though, I'm going to go ahead and pick it up, and I wouldn't mind reading it. So that way you're not really losing anything, and you're taking a chance on a new series that you get to check out, and you might end up really liking it.
And if there was another cover you liked and going, I like that cover too, but I only want to buy one cover for a book, I'll get that cover for 50 cents.
Yeah, and I'm a sucker for a variant cover, so.
I'm the same. That's what I used to do back in sales like that. I'd be like, I didn't take those covers. I'm going to take those covers.
Right. Yeah. No. Then I know they've been doing so many of those variant covers with the like the Muppets that just came out, and I know
they did like 5 of them.
Okay.
They didn't do as many as they did with the Disney covers, and they're still doing the Disney covers.
Yeah.
The new Disney cover just came out for the Fantastic Four that came out this last week. And they're now on Toy Story covers.
Oh, is that an anniversary year this is coming? 1995? Was that 1995?
I don't know
that
if it's an anniversary or if it's the fact that they're working on Toy Story 5 now.
That could be a little bit of both. Yeah, Toy Story, 1995. So, gosh, 30 years ago, Toy Story. Who knew? So it's the 30th anniversary of that film. That's maybe why they're really doing that, and it could be in conjunction with the release of the new one.
Well, I know they started. I don't know if they actually started filming it yet or whatever, but I know it's at least in pre-production. It has definitely been said it's going to happen.
So all those Disney comics that they're doing, like what if Donald Duck had become Thor, what if Mickey Mouse had become Iron Man, all those, are those selling well?
They are selling really well. You know what? They sell well to comic people, but they really sell well to the layman, lack of a better term. You know, the non-comic buyer, they don't even really have to be a Disney, obsessed with Disney. They look at the concept. Like probably my favorite of them all so far has been What If Goofy Became Spider-Man? And they just look at that and they go, oh, well, that's really cool. What if Donald Duck became Iron Man, which is another good one, really good one. But you've got What If Mickey and Friends became the Fantastic Four? What if Minnie became Captain Marvel? They're really fun books.
Yeah.
And it's about time somebody up there got smart about doing it, because I was saying it a couple of years ago with Disney owning everything. Why aren't you doing stuff like this?
And I always point to some of my earlier comics. Like I remember my dad buying me Superpowers Volume 2, number 5 off the rack at the St. Louis Lambert Airport while waiting for my brother's flight to come in from the Navy. I remember my first Spider-Man comic was Spider-Man 234. And then for some reason, my mom, I remember
234.
It's the one that's got.
Is that Tarantula?
No, that's got Mary Jane's face on one side of the and then the girl Whitney. Not Whitney Frost.
Yeah.
That's Iron Man. Was it Whitney Cummings? Was that anyway? It's a blonde girl who Peter was kind of dating, and then Mary Jane shows up as she's storming out of his apartment. I can remember the comic book, but I can't remember all the details of it. But
that time where Hobgoblin just appeared, and
yes, right before Hobgoblin showed up, I believe. But yeah, in that
244, Hobgoblin was 238, 239. Actually,
I'm going to look it up
now. The 245 is where Hobgoblin comes back after the first appearance of him. Yeah,
234. Let me look it up, because as soon as I look it up, I'll.
And it's the whole. Or no. Yeah, 234. I thought you said 244. 234. Hobgoblin is 238.
Yeah, I think 244. Yeah, that is the one. No, it's not. Gosh. All right, I'll find it later, because now I feel like I'm just bouncing around and everyone's like, please move on.
Regressing.
Very good. 243. I just found it.
Stop talking about comics, guys. 243.
I just found it. It's got Mary Jane, the return of Mary Jane Watson, and a major turning point in the life of Spider-Man.
Right.
It's the big title at the bottom says options. It's that purple cover. Nothing significant happened in that issue, but I just remember that being, because I remember the two girls' faces on the cover standing out. So that was my first Spider. But anyway, the whole point of that was my mom bought me Super Goof comics, where Goofy would eat the little peanuts and turn into Superman, like he'd get superpowers. And that's what I kind of love about these Marvel comics that they're doing. Like you said, what if Goofy'd become Spider-Man? What if Donald Duck had found the hammer of Thor? So I'm glad to hear those are selling well.
Oh yeah. Like I said, and it's. I think they're selling well because their appeal is to the not traditional comic book buyer.
Yeah.
It's somebody is like going like I've had parents. The kids are buying something, and they look at that and they buy it for themselves.
Right.
It's like,
bring me with the kids and
fun.
Then get the adults. I'm trying to go through and comment on everyone's, I shouldn't say comment, but like everyone's comments. I'm going to quickly go through. John Poe, hello to you. Thanks for listening. Bill Cleveland, wasn't Bug the name of the kid dating Uncle Buck's niece? Maybe. It's been a couple of years since I saw Uncle Buck.
I think Bug, I don't know if he was the boyfriend of the teen daughter? Is that
That's
what
what I'm
you're
kind
talking
of wondering. That sounds vaguely familiar, but Bill Cleveland, if you're wondering, no relation to Larry Quiggins. Maggie Costello
I'd have met
says
John Candy,
hi and happy Sunday to you, Maggie Costello. Let's see. Shannon, hello. Shannon's listening. Shannon came out to our bingo night this past Thursday. Maggie Costello says 30 years since Toy Story. I can't be that old. I 100% agree. Just checking. And yeah, they think it's because of the correlation between the 30th anniversary and the upcoming movie as well. Tell you what, let me, I don't want to keep you too much longer. I know it's a Sunday night, Larry, but I want to ask the state of comics. I know people have said comic book sales are starting to pick back up, especially with the Energon universe is doing really well with Image and Skybound. But you said you're also seeing some steam coming back into the DC comics. What do you see as a person who's ordering these titles? You see people coming in to buy them. What do you see that's selling really well?
Well, like you said, those Disney crossovers are the absolute universe from Disney, from DC is really doing well.
Yeah.
Obviously, again, Batman driving the bus like he does for everything for DC Comics, but the other absolute titles, also Superman, Wonder Woman, are doing really well too. They seem to really get a good, strong following to them. Once people start reading them, they really get wrapped into them. Marvel, of course, Spider-Man is still Spider-Man. Spider-Man always is just amazing, still sells, and he's going to always sell. The Ultimate Universe of Marvel, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with that, because Ultimate Spider-Man is going to be ending here in the next month.
Right.
Issue 25. And they haven't really made any kind of indication if they're going to continue it on or if they're going to close up the Ultimate Universe. So, but they've been selling well for Marvel. And like I said, the Energon universe, you've got that whole faction of the old G.I. Joe, Transformer, basically Hasbro property fans that are coming back to comics. I just had somebody the other day coming in, and he's like, I haven't read Transformers since the 80s, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. He just became completely absorbed into everything once he started learning about, and started understanding, because he was trying to figure out the whole multiverse thing. And I was like, don't think about the multiverse thing. It's all one universe. It's not a multiverse. They're making them all in one place.
Yes, yeah.
And then you got some independent stuff like the Mark Spears Monsters.
Mark Spears is on fire with the covers
really,
he's doing
really
too.
Strong seller. The Dynamite's got certain titles. The new crossover with Elvira and Harley Quinn sold pretty well.
Oh, good.
And such, and was a good book if you like weird crossovers.
No, I'm all about weird crossovers. Are you kidding me? David DeRose says it was indeed Grant Morrison. We were talking back about the Damian Wayne Robin thing. So I got caught up in the Facebook chats, forgot to check the YouTube chats. And Olivia Miller says she's the DC Comics KO series really
yes,
seems to be doing well too.
Started out hot out the gate.
Yeah.
We'll see if it keeps the steam going, but the first issue really did well.
And Tom King's coming back to Wonder Woman, I guess, starting a new series. That'll be interesting. Tom King, I know, is very divisive among fans. Some people love him and some people do not like him at all.
For me, he's a hit or miss.
Yeah.
I've never hated anything he's written, but there's stuff I'm going like, wow, this is awesome. There's other stuff it's okay.
Yeah. I know people were divided on his Batman run. I think the Mr. Miracle run that he did, people are kind of come up about that.
That was when I was kind of like, it's okay.
Yeah.
But I like his Batman take.
Yeah. I'm just trying to double check and make sure I'm not looking over anyone else in the chats here. That should catch us up. So once again, if you're listening and you're in the greater St. Louis, St. Charles area, Bugs Comics and Games at 1664 Bryan Road. Am I correct?
Yes, you are.
1664 Bryan Road in O'Fallon, Missouri. You can get there from Highway 70 or from Highway 364. Get out there on Friday. Opens at noon. The 50% off sale starts then. And also, the looks on people's faces when I give them a gift card from Bugs Comics or one of our other sponsors that helped us out with this trivia thing, their faces lit up and a comic book store gift card. So just keep that in mind for the holidays too. That's a stocking stuffer, and it's a great gift if you don't know what to get somebody, but you know they're into comic books, because sometimes that's hard. Like my mom, when I was really getting into comic books in high school, she would just get me a gift card, again, to Bugs Comics, of course, because I was going up there in high school too, because she didn't know which comics I had and which comics I didn't. So you can never go wrong with a gift card, and Larry's got those for sale there at Bugs Comics and Games. Any last words before I let you go, sir?
Well, a couple things. One, if you don't like buying gift cards, if you come into the store and you tell me what whoever it is you're buying likes and such, and we talk, I'm pretty confident I could find you something that they don't have that they would like, and their characters or genre related or such like that. And then even, of course, if you do buy a book that they have, they could bring it back to me after Christmas, and I'll let them trade it in for something else they don't have.
Oh, that's great. Okay, very nice.
Just to throw that out there. And then the last thing I want to say, I know you guys are going to do some reviews of movies here after I get off.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about Running Man.
Okay.
Running Man, the Arnold Running Man movie is one of my favorite movies.
Okay.
Now, I just watched it again a few weeks ago, probably for the 30th or 40th time. I used to get a kick out of the movie, so I'm really curious on what this new one is going to be like. So, and I'm guessing you guys both saw it.
We did.
You're going to talk about it. So,
yeah,
I'm just very interested to see if are they doing? Is it the same? I don't know how to say it. Fun that I felt the first one was. I don't know. Have both of you seen the original? I'm going to assume you have.
I saw the original, the 1987 original, but it's been probably 12 years since I last watched it. So I kind of decided on my own, I'm not going to watch this original. I'm going to go into the new one with just kind of my hazy memories. So I'm not comparing everything, because I told Joey V off air, comparison's the thief of joy, and I'm like some of the newer movies I've seen and then gone back and watched the originals, didn't like the originals, and vice versa. Joey V, I think, said he saw the original more recently than I did. What would you say, without giving too much away comparison wise, Joey?
Yeah, August 3rd, 2024, I watched the Running Man from 1987 for the very first time. Actually ordered it from Gamefly. I don't know if you know this. You can actually order movies.
Really, the first time?
Yeah, you can order movies from Gamefly. They have 4K discs, so I ordered it in and watched it for the first time. And I would say I know nothing about the Stephen King book going in, and it's a lot of fun. But then when you find out how it has nothing to do with that Stephen King book, you think, what were they doing? Was this just a vehicle for one-liners for Arnold?
Yeah, it was the 80s, and you know how they were in the 80s. They took a book and say, oh, look at the concept. Great, now we're going to write our own thing.
More or less.
That's just how it was.
But, so yeah, it'll be interesting. Once you do see it, Larry, you'll have to let me know what you think.
Yeah, I guess you guys talk about it if you know. Is this one more closer along the line of the King story, or did they also do liberties with this?
This is definitely...
I guess what I'm trying to think of, because I know exactly what he's saying. I knew the 80s one, they took a lot of liberties.
Yeah, Edgar Wright is trying to stick as close as he can to the Stephen King original book, and he got Stephen King to come on board and bless it. I don't think it was up to him. I think Stephen King has to bless everything that comes out.
You want your money, Stephen? Mm-hmm. Say you like the movie.
Exactly. I will bless it, even though that's all I'll say. Take my check.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah. So we'll see what we come up with between Joey V and I here. And once you see it, Larry, let me know. We've got Olivia Miller says the Justice League Unlimited comic book series. I'm not sure if she's asking if you have those in stock, Larry, or if she's just saying that's what she wants to get.
I do have some of those. It's a good series.
Yeah, Justice League
Unlimited. To my favorite DC series, The World's Finest series, which is my favorite DC series that's still coming out now.
Yeah, that current series with Dan Mora's art and Mark Waid is fantastic. So that'll be, you can get plenty of those. If you missed out on World's Finest, you can go back and get all the back issues this coming weekend. Larry Quiggins, as always, it's fantastic to talk to you. Thanks very much for being on tonight. I appreciate it, and I'll see you Wednesday on New Comic Book Day.
Thank you, guys. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Take care. There he goes. We're going to take a real quick commercial break before we come back and talk movies. So we are going to do that right now. We'll come right back, and Joey V will give his review of A24's Eternity, because he saw it and I didn't. And then we will both discuss Running Man. Plus, we'll take your comments and questions about movies. What's your favorite movie of 2025 so far? One lucky winner will randomly get a $25 Marcus Theater gift card just for giving your opinion. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio on the Big 550 KTRS. Please stand by.
The authentic G.I. Joe equipment, you'll have the greatest realism, the greatest fun you ever had in playing soldier. Box after box of authentic uniforms and equipment, so you can change your G.I. Joe soldier into a camouflage Marine ready for battle, a Navy frogman with complete scuba suit and inflatable life raft, an Air Force pilot with high-altitude helmet and air vest. Get G.I. Joe and get G.I. Joe equipment so you can set up exciting battle action whenever you want. Remember, only G.I. Joe is G.I. Joe.
Clickety-clack, clickety-clack, look what's coming down the track. American Flyer all aboard. It's something nifty, something new. The tracks are all mounted and wired, too. The scenery's painted and fits just so. Now, put on the train and away you go. To make a change, just shift them around.
Bon Air.
Hi, this is Andrea Romano. I happen to be the voice director for many animated series, including the Justice League. You are listening on Geek to Me Radio.
Geek to Me Radio, heard here every Sunday night on the Big 550 KTRS. I'm your host, James Enstell. I want to make sure we tell you about our premier sponsor, the City of St. Charles, the Greater St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau. They've been with me since the beginning. It's a fantastic place to visit, and we're in the middle of November, which means coming right up pretty soon, Thanksgiving. The day after Thanksgiving, they start Christmas traditions out there in St. Charles, and it is fantastic. Susan Eisenberg said, boy, it's like stepping into a Hallmark movie, and she saw it in the summer. She didn't see it all decorated with the greenery and the ribbons and the lights and hopefully some snow just to add a little extra ambience. It's breathtaking, and if you haven't had a chance to experience Christmas in St. Charles, make this your year. If you're listening from out of the state, maybe you're not in the bi-state region, maybe you're in Florida like Susan, or maybe you're in LA like John Kerzier, you can still come experience St. Charles. Plan your trip at the website, discoverstcharles.com. That's the way to check out the hotels, the bed and breakfasts, the campsites, the RV sites, whatever it might be. Check out the restaurants that are up and down this cobblestone Lion Street. Check out all the cool things there are to see and do while you were there, and just immerse yourself in this beautiful place. And if you're local, you haven't been across the bridge lately, go check it out, because there's new restaurants, there's new shops. You can go hang out at the Cozy Shop and get some really cool gift items. Especially, this is a great place to go for Christmas, because you've got the Cozy Shop. You can get some really cool items at First Capital Trading, Inc. You can just bop all around to these little tiny mom and pop shops. They are small, independently owned businesses. You're not going to the mall and spending a bunch of money. You're not ordering on Amazon or going to Walmart. You're getting really unique and very thoughtful gifts. And that's a really cool thing to do. You can pop by the Soda Museum and Arcade, play some vintage arcade games, hang out there for a little bit while you're shopping. Leave the kids there while you go shopping. You could even do that, because it's a great place. The kids can run around and play some arcade games and stuff like that. It's always a good time. You can grab a meal at Salt and Smoke. You can. They've got a Insomnia cookies, and I went in there and got one of their Reese's peanut butter cup cookies. Oh my gosh, it was this warm, gooey cookie. Fantastic. And I got a big old thing of milk out of the refrigerator because I had to have it with milk. So no matter what you're wanting to do, going to check out a new store, eating or meeting with some friends to go eat, check out Historic St. Charles. The website, once again, discoverstcharles.com. As we always say here, it's an historically good time. Coming back from break with Andrea Romano. Olivia Miller, you are correct, and Andrea Romano is a legendary human being. We're so excited to welcome her to Two Rivers Comic Con, April 25th and 26th, again in historic St. Charles. It'll be at the Steel Shop on Lawrence Street. The tickets are available now at the number 2 riverscomiccon.com. You can grab your tickets for that. And we start seeing ticket sales go up. We can actually bring in a few more guests. So buy your tickets early. We've got Andrea Romano, Larry Hama, Jerry Conway, our own very talented and local Rick Burchett. We just now, I haven't officially announced it. We announced it at Bingo. Keone Young and Pat Broderick are also coming. Just a fantastic lineup. Dan Reba is coming back. Fan favorite Dan Reba is also coming back. We're very excited about that. And more. So check that out. David DeRose, yay indeed. I agree. All right. All the business is out of the way. Time to talk some movies. Joey V.
There is a movie coming out this Thanksgiving that I'm going to highly recommend you see with your family. It's
Me personally or just anyone?
anyone.
Okay.
It's called Eternity, and this is a great concept. So first of all, it stars the wonderful Elizabeth Olsen.
Yes.
Miss WandaVision herself, and Miles Teller, and then this other dude who's from the Fantastic Beasts movies. I don't know him too well, Caleb Turner. Mm-hmm. But it's such a high-concept rom-com that I think you're going to love just from me telling you what it's about. So you die, and then you have a week to decide where you want to spend eternity. And it's basically a 70s hotel ballroom. You go around to different booths, you take their flyers, and you find out what their eternity is like. It's kind of like a Westworld decision. Do you want to be a cowboy for the rest of your life? Do you want to be on the nudist colony? Do you want to be at a beach? One of the great jokes in this, do you just like the movie Cabaret? Well, you can spend eternity in 1930s Germany, but with no Nazis. No Nazis at all. So it's so fun to think about what you would do if you were to die and then spend a week deciding where you want to spend eternity. But then the little plot twist that makes it interesting is when Elizabeth Olsen dies, she's faced with the decision of spending eternity with either her husband that she's been with for 67 years or her first husband that died in the Korean War that she never got to have a life with.
Oh, gosh.
And so it's a bit of a will they, won't they, not a threesome. What do they call that? She has to choose between the two guys, and whichever one can woo her, that she'll spend eternity with.
Wow.
And it's so fun visually because it's just like WandaVision or Loki, where it's got that 70s feel with that advertised 70s that you think back to, where it's the Sears catalog and everyone's in high heels and, you know, you can smoke on airplanes, that sort of 70s. So I love the look of the movie. It's so fun to look at. And then deciding where you want to spend eternity. So I wonder, James, if we were to do a little mental exercise, would you choose your wife that you're currently with or one of your early girlfriends? Now, obviously your wife's in bed and she's not listening. You can tell me.
Well, I mean, that's a little bit of a different thing to say one of your ex-girlfriends versus if your previous husband, like if I'd been married previously and that wife died, that's a little bit more serious than just a former girlfriend. So that's for me, it's a no-brainer. Obviously, I would choose Laura, period.
No.
Yeah?
You'd choose that one girlfriend who was really rich that took you all over the world. I knew you'd choose her.
Oh,
so.
yes. How could we forget Barbara?
I was talking to my other radio show host friend, Todd Showalter. He's got this show, The Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter.
Yeah.
And I was saying, like, what would you like to do? And he said, well, obviously, I want you there. So that was real sweet that he chose that whatever the afterlife we choose, it would be us together. And then we thought about, Florida. I want to stay in America, I think, and then Florida. And I really like not having internet or cell phones all the time. So maybe, Florida where you can use payphones, but, the movies are still really good because you can't solve all the plots by Googling them. And then I watched The Truman Show this morning and I realized we just picked The Truman Show, essentially. Just hanging out in 1997, Seaside, Florida, in an already developed community. So I guess that's where I would want to live, just with my best buds in Florida where there's no racism or anything. Maybe Christmas time, so there's just always lights up at night.
You just go to a Hallmark movie set.
I know.
One of those little towns in rural Pennsylvania where the big city guy comes in from New York and he's, trying to buy the bookstore or whatever. Go something like that.
I would definitely recommend seeing this with your family members, no matter how old or young they are. I think you will love this rom-com. And it's very funny. It's very sweet. At the end, I did cry, and so did my wonderful girl, Erica. And I think that helps. If you're there with someone that you love and you're in a healthy relationship already, then the movie will work on you.
Big caveat.
If you just don't care about, will they, won't they, a couple people arguing about whether they enjoyed their marriage or not. It may not be for you, but I think it will work on most people. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 because it is a very basic plot when it comes to whether you want to spend the rest of your life with someone, but the setting is what makes it incredible. And the jokes are constantly coming up with the different places that you could spend the rest of your life. I filled up my notepad, like 3 different sides of paper with all the jokes of places that you could live. And just go see it. It comes out Thanksgiving, Eternity.
I'm surprised, as much as you're gushing, you only give it 3.5 out of 5. That kind of surprised me. I thought you would have maybe rated it a little bit higher. What were the detractors then?
It is 2 hours long. I felt the pacing, it could have been shortened up, but if you're invested in the relationship, then it probably won't matter too much. I think what happens is it takes such a serious turn in the middle that you start to pull back because you were having so much fun earlier, but that's what really makes the ending pay off, is when it does take that serious turn. Just stick with it. And it's got Divine Joy Randolph. She is the black woman that won the Oscar for The Holdovers with Paul Giamatti. And that's a Christmas movie. I was just in the Christmas spirit watching this as well.
Maggie Costello says love triangle, not threesome. So that's where you're going with, love triangle. And then
I don't know if I can make that. I'm too old to make the love triangle.
That's hard to do because you got to really,
I'm not that flexible anymore.
Larry Quiggins says, such a dreamer. That's why I like him. Thank you, Larry. And David DeRose says, I went with Laura because he knows I know that all this is being recorded. Very good point. That's not why, David, but yes, you make a good point nonetheless. I mentioned about letting us know your favorite movie of 2025 so far. John Poe says, if Netflix movies count, my top favorite documentary is Who Killed the Montreal Expos. Worth watching, especially if you love baseball.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
I have not, but I meant to watch it. When I was growing up, I collected baseball cards, and I always called them the JB Expos because I think they had a French name that was like Jubilation was in their logo, and then it wasn't until I realized they were from Montreal, not some city named JB.
Jubilee.
Yeah.
No problem.
I think it was a reference to the World's Fair being there, the Jubilation Expo or something like that. Yeah.
There you go. And then Olivia Miller wanted to know if we saw Now You See Me, Now You Don't 3. Did you
Now You 3 Me?
Did you see that one?
I did not see it. They had Running Man and Now You See Me both on the same night, and I chose Running Man. And also, I didn't see Now You See Me 2, so I just thought I was going to be left out and not know what's going on. But the box office is arguing differently. Apparently, people were chomping at the bit for this one. I mean, it has made a ton of money this past weekend. It was number 1. It made more worldwide than it did domestically.
That's impressive because I know you and I talked about that as well. And I said, if given the choice, I was going to go see Running Man instead of Now You See Me, which is, I guess you and I are in the minority because domestically, Running Man made $17 million. Now You See Me 3, $21.3 million. But globally, as you said, the box office was blown away as far as what Now You See Me, Now You Don't 3, because they took in almost $50 million more than the Running Man at the box office, which on a $110 million budget for Running Man, having only a $28.2 million global, that's not fantastic for Paramount.
And I'm not a big fan of the Now You See Me franchise, so I feel like I would have been lost, but I keep hearing it's not even about the magic, really. I mean, there's, like masks get pulled away or there's holograms or something, but when you think about magic on the big screen, it doesn't really work because everything can just be edited. So I guess it's not really about the magic itself. It's more about the heist and then them bringing back some of the original characters that missed out on the second one. I guess there's some original characters from the first one that come back that people are excited about as well.
Okay. Yeah, David says definitely see the second one before you see the third one. I'd probably have to go back and watch the first two because I vaguely remember the first one, but I don't feel like I watched the whole movie. So I would have to probably see both 1 and 2 again before I would go and see 3 then in that case.
I keep expecting there to be zombies that pop out and I'm like, oh no, that's the other Woody Harrelson,
Mark
Zuckerberg movie.
Yes, not quite the same. So let's pivot then to Running Man because this one we both saw. As we told Larry before we got into this here, you saw the original 1987 one much more recently than I did. And you said comparatively, this one is closer to the Stephen King book.
Yeah. The original 1987 one was just a device for Arnold Schwarzenegger to do one-lines after he kills American Gladiator figures. I mean, there's a guy with a chainsaw that gets cut in half, and he says, he had to split. And then he strangles someone. And he's like, that guy was a pain in the neck. And then sets another guy on fire and says, oh, man, I'm such a hothead. I don't understand why one-liners were so important back in the 80s. And this is another movie that he did where he used I'll be back. People always think of Terminator, but
Right.
he was using it over and over. And he knew what worked, Arnold did back then.
Oh, yeah. No,
The plot of this one is based on the book closely. So after his daughter almost dies from the flu and his wife turns to prostitution, Ben Richards goes on a game show called The Running Man in hopes of winning $1 billion. And the game show is like a modern-day Roman games to keep the population entertained by murdering people live on TV. I think the 1987 one was, he was in prison and then he broke out. None of that stuff is in this one. I mean, he's immediately just going straight to the game show, which everything I've read is more in line with the book.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Stephen King wrote The Running Man in 1972, but it didn't get published until 1982. And then the plot always revolved around the year 2025. So that's interesting. They worked really hard to make sure it came out in 2025, but none of that is mentioned in the movie. You're not really supposed to know that. But whenever people write books for the future, sometimes they don't pick a year far enough in advance, because now we're in 2025 and I'm not seeing anything like a postal service that works. That was the big thing I took away. Every time he puts a videotape in the mailbox, it immediately just drones away
How
to
many of
its
those
location.
little drones are there? Because look, as soon as you put one in, the top comes off. I'm like, so how long do you have to wait for that to come back?
Mm-hmm. And then the buildings, they're not nearly as tall as I thought they would be. There's not little floating robots following us everywhere and filming us. So Stephen King could have picked a better year than 2025.
Well, it's interesting. I always make that joke about Transformers, the movie, because that in 1986, they set everything in the futuristic year of 2005. And it's like, boy, what a disappointment that turned out to be. We don't have robots to turn into cars or anything else anymore.
Yeah, that 1987 movie, I don't know why they randomly chose 2017 as their year. So I found out Stephen King just liked that number. He just thought 2025 sounded like a cool number. That's the only reason he picked it.
Huh.
This is a big year for Stephen King, too. If you haven't been paying attention, I mean, it's just been nonstop. You got The Life of Chuck,
Yeah.
The Long Walk, The Monkey, and then as far as TV, Welcome to Derry is on HBO.
That's doing really well, I hear.
And The Institute, which I've never heard of, that's on the MGM Plus app. So Stephen King, I'm sure he's a multi-billionaire now, and he could just give away this prize money for his own game show if he wanted to start it up. And you always have to get Stephen King's permission, too, when you do this stuff. And it sounded like that he did approve of this and all of the changes that they made from his book, but they stay pretty close. But I could tell that they wanted to still keep it a little lighthearted, like the 1987 one.
Yeah, it had some good comedic beats, and I think I was talking this. My friend Gary and I went and saw this movie. I didn't get to go to the screener on Monday, so I went and saw it on Saturday night. So I'd make sure I had seen it before we talked about it here. And someone was having a discussion. This was at some point this year. There's no real movie stars anymore. Like, people talk about Tom Cruise. Now he's doing all these stunts, and he's 60 something. And a lot of people have said he's the last true movie star because he's got that power. Like, if Tom Cruise headlines a movie, you're going to go see it. You kind of know what you're in for, whether it's going back to his romantic days with ones like Far and Away, or his, action picks, Days of Thunder, or even if you get into a drama like, the Interview with the Vampire, you kind of know what you're getting and you can expect a good time at the movies. And to that point, I was hard pressed to think of a modern day what we would call a movie star. In the 80s, had a ton of them. We just mentioned Arnold Schwarzenegger. We had Sylvester Stallone. There was, if you went and saw Glenn Close would be another one. Or if you went and saw, even in the 90s, Denzel Washington was dominating the box office in the late 90s. If you went and saw a Denzel Washington movie, same thing. You knew you were in for a good time. He's a fantastic actor. I don't know that we have that anymore because, think of some of the people who we're seeing in movies nowadays, and it's like, meh, there's no really bankable characters, and there's no one who I'm going to go out and see just because they're in. But I feel like, especially this has kind of cemented my opinion after seeing him in The Running Man, I feel like Glenn Powell's going to be that guy. He's got the charm. He's got the charisma. He's affable. He always has a likable role, even when you think he's going to be the villain, like in the Twisters movie. Mm-hmm. I think he might be the coming of a new age of the Hollywood movie star again. Do you have any thoughts on that?
He's very charming. He's from Texas. He's got that McConaughey swagger to him. And it just comes down to that we've been trained to only go to the movies if it's a special event. It used to be people in the 90s would go every week just because, but now it's gotten so expensive and we've gotten so accustomed to streaming that people stay home unless they hear it's a big event. And of course, that IMAX tag lets you know that it's a big event. And if it's a good movie with good word of mouth, it'll also get people out. There's not exactly a star in Predator Badlands, but it is a good movie and it is killing it in the box office. And speaking of Predator, back in 1987, you know what came out? Predator and The Running Man. So that's fascinating as well. That we're talking about whether
2025
anyone can open a movie. I guess Arnold Schwarzenegger can still open movies in 2025, even if he's not in them, because they're just remaking those movies. That's so funny.
Well, his face was on the new money bills. Arnold Schwarzenegger had his face on the new money bills when they're showing off the prizes for these game shows, and it's all just game shows. But I thought it was fun. The action was good. I thought the pacing was pretty solid throughout The Running Man, too. I thought that it never really lagged too much.
It is 2 hours and 13 minutes, and I get that I was also just engaged the entire time. Just being in this world is worth the price of admission alone. Even if you're not into the actual characters, this world is so well developed. I loved it. It was like being in a video game that you could feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd agree. And I think you said something to me because you saw the movie before I did, and I just kind of said, don't bias my opinion, but what were your initial thoughts? And something you said stuck with me. And as I'm watching the movie, you're 100% right. This is the least Edgar Wright movie of any Edgar Wright movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, the Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is a 5-star masterpiece of action and comedy and caring about the characters. This Running Man feels more like he wanted it both ways. He wanted to both honor Stephen King's original book, but not being so dark. I've heard nothing but how depressing and dark that book is, and Edgar Wright just doesn't do that.
No.
So he didn't go all the way with the extreme sci-fi violence that I love in Total Recall and RoboCop. And then also he didn't go with the campiness that made the 1987 one so fun. And you're just kind of stuck in the middle, not really caring about the motivations of the character, because they say out front, no one's ever won this game show. So why does he go on it? His whole family tells him not to do it, and he still does it, and no one's ever won. So just get rid of that plot mechanic immediately. Just sit back and enjoy it, because you know that the big company controls everything, and they AI change all your videos that you're showing too.
Gosh, that was...
So if you can't get a leg up and you know no one's ever won, why do it in the first place? It stuck with me that was kind of an annoying plot point, but I got past it.
Yeah, it didn't bother me too much because he knew that even if he died, if he lasted at least a week, his wife and child would get $50,000, I think, dollars. So it's like, gosh, if your child's that ill and you want to give your family a better life, what would you risk? Well, what would you do if you knew that it was going to be life? And again, like he pointed out, we say $50,000. That's not a small amount of change, but in this particular hellish dystopian future, it was a lot of money, $50,000. So depending on how the currency was devalued, that is a whole thing. But the fact that there was that issue with the currency, with AI overwriting people's messages and doing, I think Karine Jean-Pierre referred to them as cheap fakes, and then AI taking over stuff, that bloodlust and the media spinning things, corporations ruling, like, my gosh, in 2025, are we really that far off? Where I feel like we're heading down the Running Man's path, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, you really did set me straight just now, because he could be suicidal, but also take down as many cops with him and get money for that as well.
Yeah.
So that rule does make it more interesting. The thing that really blows everyone's mind about that 1987 one was how perfect the casting was of Richard Dawson, the game show host who is just a creep and kissing on your wife right in front of you. He was perfect in that 1987 movie. So I was thinking, as soon as The Running Man for 2025 was announced, who would we get today? And there's only one choice. That would be Steve Harvey, if he felt like doing it. That would be genius casting if Steve Harvey decided to do some real acting and be a bad guy. But of course, he would never do that. He just makes his money and smokes his cigars, trims his mustache up. But Coleman Domingo is a perfect game show host.
So good. He's always good. I loved him. I was first introduced to him in Fear the Walking Dead as Strand. I just saw him in this Netflix series, The Seasons.
Yeah.
But he's Coleman Domingo has never let me down yet. Anything I see of him, again, I could say he's to a lower level because he's not a big box office name like Glenn Powell, but he is another one of those people. If he's in a project, I know I'm going to enjoy the project.
Mm-hmm. And I would say I love Scott Pilgrim so much that when Michael Cera pops up, that really lit up the movie for me. He's so silly. He's so funny. It's actually a little bit different mood than the rest of the film. I wish the rest was like this Michael Cera silliness. So that's my big complaint, is that the tone is just a little bit off, especially when it stumbles through the ending. It turns into a whole different movie set inside of a car that takes me out of the futuristic world. So I feel like it stumbled through the ending, but it was so fun on that journey. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars.
Very quickly, I'll pop to the chats here. Some people who I guess I left out as far as big box office potential stars. Someone said Tom Cruise was the reason that streaming kind of did in that whole thing with Hollywood big names. Maggie Castell said Bruce Willis would be another one. I would agree. Larry Quiggins said Hugh Jackman. And John Poe agrees with the Bruce Willis statement as well. And as far as Edgar Wright movies, David DeRose mentioned Last Night in Soho, which I loved that movie. That was probably one of my favorite movies of 2022 was Last Night in Soho. Also directed by Edgar Wright.
If I were to choose between the ending that we got and what I've read about the book, I would have gone with the super depressing book ending. I think that would have been something that I enjoyed more than what we were given, which was more of a big Hollywood crowd-pleasing ending. That's always interesting when you see something like a super depressing Swedish film and then they remake it for the American audiences and they go with the crowd-pleasing ending. Yeah, I feel like it was a bit of a cop-out, but I didn't mind because the journey was so fun. Just the technology, like if you're in a car that's self-driving, it will pull over if a cop wants it to be pulled over, whether you like it or not. Things like that, great touches.
So out of 5 stars, what did you give it on your letterbox?
I gave it 3.5 out of 5. Definitely see it in the theater. It'll be fun to watch that they shot in real locations, but then added the CGI on top of it, and it blends in perfectly.
I also, and I'm going to just to show you, I also gave it 3. Oh, you can't really see it because there you go.
Right on the letterbox.
3.5 out of 5 stars. So Joey V and I are in perfect agreement on The Running Man. Yeah, if you want a good time at the box office, I know Larry was asking, I'd recommend it. If you like the original, I'd say you'll probably get a kick out of this one. It's a lot of fun, a lot of really cool action, a lot of great set pieces. And as I said, Glenn Powell, I think, is our next big box office Hollywood sensation. Anything, last words here as the theme music plays us out, Joey V?
No, I would say that just keep going to the box office and see the movies every single week if you can. It's one of my favorite things to do. Go with someone you love.
100% agree. I love seeing film. There's no experience like it. Go see it in the theaters. Streaming's great, especially if you want to stay home. I get it. But that movie theater experience is something you cannot recreate at home. So check out your local theaters and go see a movie. That's going to do it for, John Poe, since you had the thing about the Montreal Expos, you're going to win the Marcus gift card. I'm going to get your information. We'll mail you that gift card. So thank you all for your comments tonight. Thank you to Bugs Comics and Games, Larry Quiggins. Big 50% off sale November 21st through the 23rd. Make sure you check out Bugs Comics and Games. Thank you to the City of St. Charles. Thank you to Joey V for always making the move that this show sound and looking as good as it does. And until next week, my friends. Thank you, Chesterfield. Good night.
From ABC News.